Snow White by the Brothers Grimm. Once upon a time, long, long ago, there was a lovely kingdom with green forests and clear lakes. But suddenly, the kingdom was struck by terrible misfortune. Their beloved queen, on a cold, wintry day, died while giving birth to her first daughter. The kingdom was greatly saddened by the loss, and they all came forward to pay their last respects to their queen. But their sadness soon turned to joy when they saw the baby daughter. Her lips were as red as blood, her hair as black as ebony, and her skin as white as the falling snow. She was christened Snow White. After a year, the kingdom had a new queen. She was very beautiful, but her heart was black as night. She could not bear to think of anyone being more beautiful than herself, and spent many hours just looking at herself in the mirror. Oh, but this was no ordinary mirror.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is the fairest of all?
Thou, O Lady Queen, art the fairest in the land.
That's right. It was a magic mirror. But as the years passed and Snow White grew older, she turned into a most lovely young girl. And so one day...
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is the fairest of all?
O great queen, the most beautiful girl in the land, had lips as red as blood, hair as black as ebony, and skin as white as snow. Her name is Snow White.
What? Did you say Snow White? Snow White, is it?
Wicked queen has sent a woodsman to slay Snow White so that she may once more be the fairest in the land. But he could not bring himself to do it. He could never kill anything so lovely.
Quickly, fair maiden. You must flee deep into the forest where the queen can never find you. If she does, we both shall die. Hurry! Run!
The woodsman had to bring some proof to the wicked queen to show that Snow White was dead. So he cut the liver from a wild pig and returned to the castle. Poor Snow White didn't know what to do, so she ran and ran. Snow White had no place to go. The forest seemed to be endless. Only one thing was certain. She could not return to the castle. Night began to fall, leaving her all alone in the forest. Snow White had to find a place to stay. But wait, what's that across the pond? It looks like someone's house. Snow White quickly ran over, hoping to find a friendly face and a warm pot of stew over the fire. My, what a tiny little house. Hello? Inside, Snow White found a wee little table with 7 place settings. Why, it looked almost like a doll's house with all the tiny little pieces. What a strange place. And then she found 7 little beds, all lined in a row. It was quite late, and Snow White was very sleepy. She lay down and quickly dropped off to sleep. But what's that? It sounds as though someone's coming. Why, it was 7 little dwarfs returning from their day of work.
Shh! Quiet! Hush! Stop! Stop, I said! You're right. Someone has been here. I'm scared.
Oh, look!
Let's get out of here!
Oh, hey, fellas, what are we gonna do?
Shh.
Maybe it's an ogre or a monster.
Slowly, the 7 dwarfs crept back into the room.
She's no ogre. She's beautiful.
When the dwarfs saw how soundly Snow White was sleeping, they decided not to disturb her and let her sleep till morning. Then they could decide what to do with her. Of course, Snow White was surprised to see the 7 little dwarfs, all piled up like straw and snoring like that. But she could tell at once that they were kind and generous, and her heart heaved a sigh of relief. So Snow White decided to repay them by making a delicious breakfast.
Sure smells good.
Wow.
In no time at all, Snow White's innocence and kindness had completely won the hearts of the dwarves. And it was decided that Snow White could live with them for as long as she liked. Meanwhile, the jealous queen had received the wild pig's liver and was relieved to know that once more her beauty was unsurpassed.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who in this land is the fairest of them all?
Thou art, O queen, the fairest in this land. However, in the far distant forest where the 7 dwarfs dwell, Snow White remains alive and well.
No, it can't be true. The mirror never lies. She must be alive. I can't rest until... A 1,000 curses on her soul.
This poison apple will take care of you, my dear. The wicked queen disguised herself as an apple lady and set off for the 7 dwarfs' forest to find Snow White. Oh no, there's Snow White now. I hope she sees through the queen's trickery.
Oh, well, how are you this fine day, my dear? Won't you try one of my delicious red apples? This is a rare one. It comes from a tree that blossoms but once every 1,000 years. Please, try it. It contains a magic potion that will keep you young and beautiful for years.
It was as though the queen had cast a spell over her as Snow White took the poisoned apple and placed it to her lips.
Well, now you see what fate lies in store for those who would challenge this queen's beauty.
When the 7 dwarfs returned home from work, they found Snow White, and nothing they could do would revive her. They were heartbroken to lose such a good friend, and they spent day after day keeping a vigil over her casket of flowers. Never had they known such sadness, nor could they imagine anyone so wicked as to take their beloved Snow White away from them. Even as she lay there, her beauty did not diminish, and she looked as lovely as she had in life. But then one day, the prince from the neighboring kingdom happened to be passing through the forest. When he saw Snow White lying there in all her beauty, he knew he could not bear to be without her. The 7 dwarfs recognized him to be kind and generous and agreed to let him move her to his castle. But as they were rolling along the wooded path, a most incredible thing happened. A cart wheel struck a stone so violently that the bite of poisoned apple that had stuck in Snow White's throat popped out.
Oh.
Permit me to introduce myself. I am the prince from the kingdom on the other side of this forest. Won't you do me the honor of accompanying me to my castle?
When they reached the castle, news of their wedding was proclaimed throughout the land. It was a grand wedding, and of course, no one was happier than the 7 dwarfs. And Snow White and her handsome prince lived in peace and happiness for years and years thereafter. Oh, yes, about that wicked queen. When she heard that Snow White had defeated her once more, she flew into such a rage that in her fury, she melted fast away.
Now it can be safely told, Snow White's beauty shall ne'er grow old.
Our story today is from the East European country of Czechoslovakia. It is called The 12 Months. Have any of you heard the story of the 12 spirits of the 12 months of the year who gather together in the dead of each winter to plan the seasons for the coming year? Well, I know one little girl who has. Her name was Marushka, and she lived deep in the countryside with her stepmother and stepsister. Even though this was not Marushka's real family, she was grateful for a place to live, and she did everything she could to help out around the house. But I'm afraid her kindness was not appreciated.
Ah, Marushka, isn't breakfast ready yet? Oh, good morning, Mother. I hope you slept well. I'll have breakfast ready for you in a minute. Why don't you be seated?
Marushka's stepmother was very lazy, and her sister very selfish. They made Marushka do all of the housework without so much as lifting a finger to help. But Marushka never complained. She went about her chores cheerfully. Today is her sister's birthday, and a big party is planned. You know who has to make all the preparations while her stepmother and sister spend the day trying to make themselves pretty for the party. Her sister invited all of the children from the village, and they brought many wonderful presents. But after they had all been presented, they all gathered around and began to talk to Marushka. The selfish sister was very jealous, and she complained to her mother. She could not stand to see Marushka getting so much attention.
Don't worry, dear. I think I have a way to get rid of Marushka for good. Marushka? Come over here right this minute, Marushka. Did you forget what day this is, or are you just being selfish? Why, no. I haven't forgotten that it is my sister's birthday today.
Did you hear that, Mother? Even though she knew it was my birthday, that stingy girl still hasn't given me a present.
Oh, I'm so sorry, sister. Marushka, I think it'd be nice if you gave your sister a bouquet of violets from the forest. Did you say violets?
Yes, I must have some violets. Make her go, Mother, right now.
But everyone knows you can't pick violets in the middle of winter, dear Mother. I might have expected excuses from an ungrateful sister like you. Well, I'll have no more of your obstinance. You're not getting back into this house until you found a bouquet for your sister.
And so it was that the wicked stepmother sent Marushka out into the cold and loneliness of that midwinter day. Oh, what a mean trick to send a young girl like Marushka out on a day like this to find something that's not even there. Marushka could go no further. It was useless. All she could do was lie there in the snow crying and thinking of home. But wait, what is that sound? Maybe Marushka is not alone. It sounds like someone is having a party over amongst those trees. Sure enough, there was a huge bonfire. Oh, it looked so warm and inviting to the nearly frozen little girl. And so Marushka gathered up all of her remaining strength and set off to find out who could be having a party. Can you imagine her surprise when she discovered that it wasn't a party at all, but a meeting of the 12 spirits of the year from January to December?
Oh, please, I'm so sorry to bother you, but do you think I might sit by your fire a while, just till I warm up a little?
Why, of course, my dear.
Oh, thank you.
Why don't you sit down, my dear, and tell us why a young thing like yourself is out on such a wintry day?
And so Marushka told them of her search for violets for her sister. After listening to her story, the wise old spirit of December asked the youthful spirit of March to stand.
March, step forward. I think you may be able to help this girl. Hurry up and pick them. You'd best be home by dark.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Mother, sister, I'm back. Look, I've brought you your presents.
You didn't steal those, did you?
You know you could get us all in trouble if you did steal them. Why, no, I'd never do that. When I couldn't find any violets, the spirit of March turned the forest into springtime for me.
Huh?
Why doesn't anything like that ever happen to me? Don't worry. I thought of a way to take care of Marushka once and for all. Listen.
I wonder what that wicked stepmother is plotting. Oh, who would believe what that terrible stepmother has ordered Marushka to do now? Not satisfied with the violets, she has now asked Marushka to bring back a basket of fresh strawberries for everyone to enjoy at the party.
Marushka, what brings you back here on such a cold winter's day?
And so Marushka told how she had been sent out to gather fresh strawberries.
Surely you must know that it is not yet the season for strawberries. Does your stepmother think you will find them beneath the snow?
Of course Marushka knew, but she also knew that without the strawberries, she would never return to her home.
I see, but perhaps the spirit of June will help. There, Marushka, take all you need for the party.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
What? Their surprise quickly turned to glee, because it seems that fresh strawberries were their very favorite food. But do you think they offered to share them with anyone else at the party? No, of course not. But I'm afraid that even strawberries were not enough to warm their cold and greedy hearts.
Marushka, next I'd like an apple. Bring us a whole basket of apples.
Marushka tried to tell them that it was impossible to find fresh apples in mid-December, and she pleaded with them not to send her back out into the cold. But her pleas were fruitless, and once again she had no choice but to seek out her friends, the spirits of the 12 months. Perhaps they would be willing to help her one more time to honor the unreasonable wishes of her wicked step-family.
Marushka, once more you have come to visit us with tears in your eyes. Tell us what evil request your stepmother has made to you now.
Marushka told them of her search for fresh apples.
And I suppose that once more, if you return empty-handed, they will leave you out in the cold. Well, we can't let that happen. Come, September, it is your turn to help.
And once again, the miracle of the seasons unfolded before Marushka's eyes. And the forest was filled with ripe, delicious fresh apples.
Come, Marushka. Take all that you can carry, and maybe your kindness may yet win the hearts of your ungrateful family.
Oh, thank you, September. Thank you all. I will never forget you. Goodbye.
And so it was that Marushka bid farewell to her friends, the seasons. and returned home once more, hoping to please her adopted family.
Marushka, where did you steal those apples?
Why, the forest was full of them. Then why didn't you bring more home with you? I left them for my friends. You left them for your friends? Well, what about your own family? Don't you ever think of us?
She doesn't have any friends around here. I'll bet she's hidden them from us.
Oh, no, Mother. I would never do a thing like that. You must believe me. No. I know she's hidden them from us. Mother, I know I can find them. I'll be right back.
Stop. Wait for me. I'll bring a bag, too.
That greedy sister grabbed the biggest bag she could find and went running off through the snow before anyone could stop her. She ran and she ran, but nowhere could she find the magic apple tree. By this time, the greedy sister had gone too far, and she could not remember the way back to her warm country home. She was destined from that day forth to spend the rest of her life searching the Czechoslovakian snow forest for the magical apple trees of September. The same fate lay in store for the wicked stepmother. She, too, let greed run away with her, and to this day she still searches an unfriendly forest for the path back to their home, beneath the trees. Of course, Marushka was greatly saddened to be left all alone once again, but the cold of winter soon gave way to the warmth of spring, and the land around her cabin soon burst forth in a rhapsody of wild flowers and butterflies. And Marushka was soon adopted, this time by a kind and generous family, with a son who looked magically like the spirit of March. They quickly became the best of friends and lived happily ever after.